All right, everybody. Welcome to the solo edition of Who's Your Band tonight. This happens every once in a while. If I can't make it or I have a concert and Jeff covers. Jeff is apparently in Aruba right now, and I'm hoping he's going to become the next Natalie Holloway, and that this is going to be a permanent situation where Who's Your Band is just my show. I'm kidding. He's coming back tomorrow, unfortunately. So I had the great honor of picking my guest this week. So everybody else canceled. So I had these two people on the show. These are actually two good buddies of mine. They have a great band, one of my favorite local bands out here called War for the Crown. More importantly, they are the hosts of, without question, my favorite podcast that is going right now. They've had the honor of asking me to do it a couple of times. I had a great time doing them. Let's give it up for Archie and Rocco from the Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast. How you doing, guys?
What's up, pal?
How are you?
Sean!
Yes, some of us were here on time. Yeah. Some of us had issues.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes you just fuck up a little bit extra on a Sunday night.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Thank you for having us, Sean.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, actually, and tonight seemed like the perfect night to do it. Because we tend to on this podcast we have the thought of talking about music. Okay. And then what happens is it just kind of goes awry sometimes. Like if we have action musicians on, we talk to them about it, but we have comics on. It's like 4 minutes of music, and then we're just bullshitting each other for the rest of the time. But
yeah,
you guys have two of my favorite bands as your favorite bands, so we're definitely going to talk about that. But why don't you tell everybody about your podcast and what you guys are doing?
Well, first off, let's just say you still don't have two musicians on, so there you go.
That is very true. I'm just very happy that Archie is not wearing the bandana on his face.
Yeah, well,
probably should though.
So people don't like to see my ugly bug anyway. So
I thought it was a good gimmick, back in like '97 when Fieldy was doing it. But otherwise, it's not a bad gimmick. You know what I mean?
I listen. I do have to say I was pre-COVID.
Yeah,
with a mask.
That is true. That is true. A lot of people should still be wearing their masks if you take a good look around at people right now.
It was the only time you were ahead of your time, Arch, and we're really proud of you for that.
I took the mask off. Next thing you know, hey, pandemic.
Oh, Christ. So what made you guys decide to start this podcast that you're doing? Because let me tell you something. There's literally 1.5 million podcasts on Apple Podcasts right now. And I think between Talk is Jericho and you guys, that's all I listen to.
Well,
we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate that company. Well, I'll tell you what, right before the pandemic started, literally, we had like 3 or 4 interviews, and you were one of them.
Yep.
And in person with the guest.
Yep.
And we called in some favors, and we said that we just wanted to start a podcast. We thought it was pretty cool. We had some hookups. Let's talk about music, sports, and comedy. That's our favorite. That's our shit. And all of a sudden, the pandemic hit, and then it was like, oh, Zoom, baby.
Yeah.
But what Rocco and I have explained before to other people, that we would have never, ever had these guests on if it wasn't for this pandemic.
That is very true. I mean, during the pandemic, I wound up getting like the guitar player from Volbeat, a guitar player from Kiss, Billy Sheehan, like the greatest bass player of all time, Johnny Kelly, who's drummed for every metal band in the world. Mm-hmm. And now my list is down to you guys. So I understand.
What a fucking fall from grace that is.
But no, I do agree with you at one point. I really do agree with you, because like when we first started doing the podcast, we had a beautiful studio in Secaucus. It's like a multi-million-dollar studio. And, we got some great guests in, but I realized it was going to be hard to be getting these kind of caliber guests coming in all the time into a studio to do it. And I think that the pandemic actually really is changing the whole podcast scenario.
Yeah. Absolutely.
100%. Unless you're like a guy like Rogan, who people are going to fly into Texas to do it, because you're going to get 1 million Twitter followers after doing it. You might get 3 out of this.
Yeah. Well, it's funny enough. You're going to get negative guests.
Yeah, you're going to lose followers. We're sorry.
You're going to lose followers.
Yeah, we got 14,300 subscribers on YouTube as of today. I'm going to say it's going to hit about 13.8.
Watch the numbers drop
after this episode drops.
Let me tell you something. So, like you said, why did we start it? We were always like, obviously, like we're in a band, love music, sports, comedy, like all that shit. Like, and we're like, oh, let's just, we took our conversations on the phone, which still, by the way, our conversations on the phone, way funnier than we put it out on the podcast. So we're trying to figure out how to fucking, I'm like, Arch, record everything we say to each other, because the funniest shit comes at 7 a.m. on the phone.
It's the truest thing, though, because let me tell you, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of comics in my lifetime. There is nobody funnier on the planet than my guitar player. Me and him, we are the most brutal, savage people on the planet. Like, he'll just text me a picture. I'll be like, what the hell is this? Because he's a cop. And he'll be like, yo, look really hard. I'm like, and I'm looking, I'm like, what is it? He goes, that's a guy's heart in a tree. He died in a car accident. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, I'm fucking eating my Wheaties, for Christ's sake.
Some of the stuff that we put on the podcast, I'm like, Arch, it's like, it's not believable, but it's the shit that we talk about. And it's like, it's in its truest form. We're not like making up stuff to like say. It's, I'm like, people are not gonna believe that we talk to each other like this shitty, as best friends.
Yeah, it's the truth. It really is, because you don't realize like how bad you verbally berate your best friend.
And then there is a line where it's like, because I understand there's people out there that have no fucking line, no filter, and I commend them, and I think that's awesome. But there's a line that I try to tiptoe across without getting divorced. that I'm gonna put on the air.
No, I get, dude. I understand completely.
If you understand what I'm talking about, but
I get it completely. But you know what? It's karma, because something will happen, and then she will get revenge. It happens, believe me, because I verbally berated my wife on stage for years and years and years. And there was one time where I was hosting a show, and I saw this old couple in the front, and I go, oh, how long are you married? And the lady goes, oh, this is my brother. My husband died 2 days ago. And then there's complete silence. And then you hear my wife in the background going, I'm like, you bitch. Like the whole ride home, she was like, your set was really good. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And it's like a next exit. But I like that new joke. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I totally get it, dude. But it's going to come back to you. It's definitely going to come back to you. No question.
So,
that's why we developed right? What's it called? Hey, when we tell a story that we can't say is us. So I know a guy, right?
Yeah. And so let me tell you about one of our boys from Bloomfield. Listen,
not us,
not me.
Yo, there's this guy with this really gay music tattoo on his shoulder. No, not me. It's a different one.
Remember that story about that hooker and that dog? No, not me.
Now, you guys are in a band called War for the Crown, but you guys you were in bands together beforehand, though.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me some of those bands, see if I remember them.
Fuck, man. We went to go see Stained open up for Korn at the Brendan Byrne Arena.
Yes.
Was it then or maybe not? It might have been. Izod Center or something.
Continental at that point.
Yeah. And we were in the parking lot and we're getting hammered. And I'm like, yo, bro, I love this band Stain. We got to go see them. I think we missed them.
No, we saw Stain.
Did we?
Yeah.
Too much weed. And he's like, yo, I could sing, man. I could fucking sing. And still to this day, he can't. But he's like, yo, I could fucking sing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm not bad. I mean, I played in a couple bands. Like, I'm pretty good. Let's just fucking do it. And it was at the time of rap rock, and that's what we were feeling. And we started a band. The name was Reality Breakdown. And then we were like, this is fucking
exactly.
And then we became Lowdown. And then we recruited a couple people left. A couple people had some fucking drug problems, but not even good drug problems. like I'm bipolar. I threw my fucking medicine in the garbage can. Let's rock tonight. Come on.
Oh God.
But yeah, so we started out in like 2001, 2000, something like that.
2000.
Right?
I want to say it was 2000.
Yeah, so we started out with a band Lowdown, and that lasted for, I don't know, 10 years maybe, something like that. And yeah, and then we took a break for a while. He went his way, I went mine. I don't know what he did with guys. I mean, I still liked girls, but I
mean, you weren't talking to any or like hooking up, but you liked them.
And then I think in like maybe like what 7 years ago or something like that, and we always kept in touch, obviously, right? And then like 7 years ago,
What do you mean kept in touch? You're my best friend, you dumb fuck. We kept in touch. I fucking talked to you more than I talked to anyone in the past decade, 2 decades, stupid.
And we
kept in touch. What a jerk off. You sound like a real dick giving an interview like, oh, we kept in touch.
And
I fucking hate you.
And
there was one day when the wind was just coming through my window. The moonlight struck my eye, and I said, I must call Rocco again.
Rocco said to me, oh, we did play in a cover band for like a hot minute. And that was fun, just to play like cover tunes. So that was cool. But he was like, yo, I got this band. Just fucking come play bass. Because I played guitar. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, you want to know what?
He's like, it's a vacation playing bass.
It's like a basscation. like you don't have to be, you could be a little bit of a Riri to play bass. And no offense to anybody play bass out there. But yeah, like it's fun.
You just alienated fucking millions of people.
And ever since then, we started a band. It was Carry Out Your Dead. It was called. I think that was a great fucking band name. Fuck, that was a great band name. And then it became War for the Crown. And then here we are.
I prefer War for the Crown, personally. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
You also have another good friend of mine in the band, too, who I never hear from until there's a gig coming up. I didn't hear from him for 4 years almost. And then all of a sudden, yo, what's up? And I'm like, when's the gig?
Yeah.
How'd you know, man? I'm like, because you had to sell tickets. That's why, asshole. And that's why you texted me. But I will tell you, he is probably, not probably, in my opinion, your guitar player, Tim Allen, who is a good friend of mine, the best unsigned guitar player on the planet.
I agree. He's insane.
He's absolutely nuts. I remember him in an old band, and they covered Domination by Pantera. And he played the solo, for Christ's sake, almost better than Dime did. I mean, he's absolutely nuts. He has no social skills. Don't get me wrong. He's a horrible human being. He probably has an IQ of 66, but the guy can shred. He really can shred.
So we know Tim for a long fucking, I mean, again, as you get older, time is like, 20 years, Arch, would you say? Like, I mean,
I'll be honest with you. I was in this band at 19 years old, and Tim, we played with him in a band called, he played Dead Effect.
Dead Effect. Yeah.
Dead Effect. Skinhead with a goatee.
Yep.
Now I'm 42, 22 years ago, 23 years ago. I know this cat for a long time, bro.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We used to actually play with him too when I had my old band, but I wasn't friends with him at the time. Because that whole era, like that 99, 2000, 2001 era, we had so much music coming out of our area. Like everybody was getting signed at that time. And I remember at one point, like they had this guy come up to me and he was like, we wanted to sign you to a record label. I'm like, this is amazing. So I did all the booking. I did all the, the lyrics and then the writing and stuff like that. And he was like, you just got to give me $25,000 ahead of time to print CDs. And then you're going to get 10% of that back over the first year. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not a smart guy. But I don't think this is a great deal. I really don't.
Would you like big bills or small bills, sir?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So we are a music podcast. So I'm going to start with Rocco, I think, because he is a little senile at this point.
Absolutely.
Am I wrong in saying that Pantera is your favorite band?
By far.
By far. I couldn't tell because when I pulled into your house, and for our listeners, like the YouTube listeners can look at this and just look at him. You basically think he lives in a trailer, but he doesn't. He lives in this fucking mansion. I pulled up and I'm seeing the driveway. I'm going, this has got to be the wrong house. Like, this has definitely got to be the wrong house. And then he walks out. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong in my life? Like I was blown away. But yeah, then I saw the big Pantera sticker on the back of the car. So that's what I remembered. So how far back do you go with them?
Well, I'll tell you, I want to say probably like 92. So I heard Vulgar Display of Power before I ever heard Cowboys from Hell.
Same here.
And I remember hearing like, and it was like on the radio, like This Love. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It sounded to me like nothing I ever heard in my life before.
I agree.
And I'm like, it was so dynamic. It was like singing, and all of a sudden fucking lose your mind. And then I had to go backwards and listen to Cowboys from Hell.
Right.
And I was like, wow, okay. But like the Vulgar Display of Power album was, I'll say 90, 92, 91, where it like changed my music listening for life.
Yeah, it was a very strict, like they had that big hit with Cemetery Gates, right? And that was like their breakout. People loved Cowboys from Hell. But when like you look back now, that's probably one of the top 5 greatest metal albums of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Vulgar. And you listen to Walk, and I get it. It's the popular song. Everybody in the gym has it. Like I walked down the aisle at my wedding to Walk.
Nice.
I really did. We had the intro to the Godfather theme, you know, had the record scratch and went right to Walk. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's great. But they were great. I mean, they were such a great band, but I think they really hit their stride with Far Beyond Driven.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's so right now because Vulgar was meant so much to me, like me discovering them. But Far Beyond Driven was like, wow. So to me, it's like, which kid do you like better? It's like a toss up of, and like Far Beyond Driven, 0 radio play, opened fucking
number one,
dude.
Yeah.
And it didn't stay there for that long. I get it, but
it doesn't matter. It still counts.
To have 0, no single.
Yep.
No radio play, Billboard number 1.
And they're one of those bands that actually from their, I count Cowboys as their first album. I don't count the other shit. You go from Cowboys to Vulgar to Far Beyond Driven to Trendkill. They just get heavier.
Yeah, and nobody gets heavier as they go on.
No, you always had the like Machine Head. First album, heavy as shit. Second album, heavy as shit. Third album, hot garbage. You see, you kind of usually trail off a little bit, you know, but they just got heavier and heavier and heavier. And if you realize it too, they did lose a little bit of fan base the heavier they got.
100%.
You know, I can remember seeing Pantera on the Trendkill tour 5 times in 8 days. Like we followed them around, like from like DC and Philly and Jersey and Boston. It was one of the most insane week and a halves of my life because the crowds there were just nuclear.
Yeah.
Like if you never saw a Pantera live concert, you really completely missed out.
If I think, I don't know how many times you saw them, Rock, but I know I saw them with you once. Yeah. And it was an Ozfest, right?
Yep.
97 probably.
All right. So whatever year that they were on Ozfest, I watched them from the lawn. So and that's my only Pantera sighting. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at least I could say I was in the fucking building, you know?
Oh, true. We went to see them at Roseland in the city. So it was
what year? I'm about to tell this.
It was the Trendkill tour. So it had to be 96, 95, 96 probably. 96, 97.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were all the way in the back, and my degenerate friends were like, we're too lazy to walk up and go into the pit. So let's just start our own pit by the soundboard. And we just beat the shit out of each other. And then we wound up walking back to Port Authority, and there was 2 buses left. And here we are with ripped shirts, blood coming off everywhere. We're sweating. We're disgusting. There's about 60 people waiting for the bus to get back to Jersey City. They all waited for the last bus. They let us on the bus by ourselves because they were completely terrified and scared of what we looked like.
So, Sean, I want to say, like, it sounds like I was at that same show. I couldn't say 100%. I remember, so like 95, 96, I was legitimately, that was the first time I was legitimately scared at a show because the guys in the fucking pit, I was like I was a young kid. It was probably like fucking 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, but you were delicate.
Yeah. Yes, I was delicate. I was a delicate young youth.
You're still delicate. Yeah.
He is. I'm just being polite.
You're husky.
True.
The pit looked like to me was like a fucking prison riot. I'm like,
Yeah, it was insane.
I was in awe of the people that were there that night, and I was like fucking scared.
Oh yeah, it was intense, man. But I walked out of there the least beat up with my shirt ripped open and my lip just completely split wide open. My friend tore a rotator cuff. Like it was fucking just mayhem. It was absolute mayhem. But those concerts, they don't have them like that anymore.
No, and I was oddly drawn closer to them by being so scared, which was weird.
Can we agree that Goddamn Electric is garbage?
A couple lines I like in it.
Anyway, you're saying
Archie? I can't call anything fucking.
No, fuck him. What were we saying, Archie?
The craziest pit till this day that I've ever been in.
Can I guess it?
You'll never guess it.
Because it was the craziest pit that I was ever in.
You'll never guess it.
Non-blondes.
Rage Against the Machine, Wu-Tang Clan at the Izod Center.
If I never saw Rage yet, but I wish I did.
Really?
The craziest pit I've been in to this day that I actually feared, that I said, uh-oh, there might be a problem here.
Yeah.
Roseland Ballroom, typo negative.
Really?
You wouldn't think it.
You'd be like,
at all. Hot Topic sludge rock fucking blah, blah. No, bro. That was the most intense fucking. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I watched her go down. I picked her up. I was actually physically scared.
Did you or no? You just went down.
Oh, look at you!
All right.
You're so quick. At least that's what. Forget.
There you go.
But that was one of the craziest pits. But I just Googled it real quick. I'm sorry. Pantera 2000 Ozfest.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this lineup. And that's when we saw them, right? First of all, I feel like I'd never stay for Ozzy anymore. I stopped watching Ozzy.
I left for Ozzy a couple times, yeah.
Pantera, Godsmack, Static X, Incubus, Methods of Mayhem, POD, Queens of Stone Age, Black Label, Apartment 26, Soulfly, Kitty, Disturbed, Taproot, Slaves on Dope, Revel, I don't know, Shovel, Primer 55,
who I love,
Deadlights, Pitch Shifter, Crazy Town. That we went that year, 2000, and I became a fan of like Black Label and Disturbed and Kitty and fucking Primer 55. Like, oh man, that was
great era.
What a great time.
I went to see Disturbed one time, or those K-Rock low-dose shows. Now, I had just gotten my labret pierced. If you don't know where your labret is, it's right underneath your bottom lip. And they didn't put a long enough post in. So the inside is growing over the post, right? So now it's like I'm popping it open the whole time. It's fucking gross. So we go see Disturbed, and now I'm getting annoyed at this concert, right? I'm in the pit, and I get an elbow right to the chin, and you just see the blood pouring out. And it kind of stopped for a second, and they're looking at me, and I take the thing, and I ripped it out right through the front of my lip. Yeah, and you actually heard, oh, but now, like, I realized, like, 3 minutes after that was a really bad idea. So, like, I'm with my friend Joe, who's like, I'm 6'3", he's 6'6". So, like, between me and him, we're monsters at this concert. So this kid keeps tapping at us, and he's like, can you lift us up? So I'm like, sure. We lift him up. Then somebody else comes, and they sit. I'm like, fine. Now the third person, I'm like, no, I want to watch a fucking show. Okay. So like he goes up, and then he comes running back around. So then I snapped. I had one of those moments where like you just completely snap. Anybody who touched me, I was lifting up and throwing. I was just picking them up like this and just throwing them. So then we leave. It was at Hammerstein. So we leave and we go to the McDonald's before we go on the train, and we get our food and we're walking back, and some kid flinches who was sitting on the steps. And as we're walking, we heard, that's the big guy that threw me before. Fucking horrible. That was a bad pit. But like I said, the worst pit I ever saw was Rage Against the Machine, Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang opens up. I'm on the rail at Continental. And I'm into it. I'm not a huge rap fan, but like I appreciate that it's a cool bill. I know a couple of songs. I'm into it. Rage comes on, and the first song, I guess let's just say the demographic that likes Wu-Tang Clan that was there was like, wow, these guys can beat the shit out of each other in this place. This looks really cool. And a fucking riot broke out.
Wow.
Like I was on the rail within one song of Rage. I was all the way in the back by the soundboard. And it was just, they were ripping chairs out. It was just unfucking believable.
Oh, well, I can't. Funny enough that you mentioned that Rage is that we're supposed to go see them in August.
Yeah,
at MSG.
Yep.
And I went to go double check for my in-laws, aka the babysitters.
Mm-hmm. And it's moved to next year.
I go like this. I go, oh, so listen, I need you available on Tuesday, if that's cool. And I look, I'm like, because it's on. Wait, it's on month. Wait, it's 2022.
Yep, that was supposed to be. They were supposed to be on my birthday this year, and they pushed it back to next year. So instead of seeing Rage Against the Machine, I get to see Hall & Oates on my birthday. It's a good trade-off.
Yeah, but you want to know what? After a nice Italian meal, I would do some Hall & Oates.
Listen, you do make my dreams come true.
You make a mad. Sean and I were having a Hall & Oates discussion before. I was like,
yes, because you were 15 minutes late for the podcast, so we actually had time to talk.
Yeah, we were shooting the shit, and Sean educated me onto what Oates does for the group, because I feel like fucking John Hall is always fucking singing and doing all the shit.
Daryl Hall, you moron.
Daryl Hall.
Daryl Hall is the blonde.
Yes.
Daryl Hall is the writer, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's like the music, like all of the
Oates writes most of the stuff.
Oates writes most of the stuff.
Oates writes a lot of shit. Daryl Hall has a great solo career afterwards. Oates sold 7 records. Fucking hard. What a disgrace. It really is.
Oates had a great mustache though.
Oh, he had a porn stash before the porn stash was invented.
He's like a Gary Delabate lookalike.
He does. Yes, he does. He has small children living on his mustache.
I feel like he would be Larry's best friend at the Regal Beagle.
All right, we talked about Rocco's favorite band. Now, I kind of know what Archie's favorite band is, because that's my favorite band too. And we've talked about them ad nauseum.
Baby metal.
Baby metal.
So
the Struts.
I'm gonna bring it back, and I'm gonna say that quick little story is that my brother is a huge influence on me. He's about I think he's 56, 57, and I knew of all rock bands in an age growing up of Biggie and Wu-Tang and all that stuff, where we grew up with all that stuff around us, which I do love. But I know my first band that I knew of was Kiss. My first concert was Kiss. I loved Kiss, and then at like 15 years old, I was introduced to Springsteen. It was the fucking revelation for me. But there was something that had in a band called Life of Agony that just my ears. It was like music porn. Like when I heard that guitar, that crunch, that fucking that fucking bop, that bounce, and then Mina's vocals, the contrast to my ears was something that I loved. So when the first time I heard LOA, I just was like, what the fuck is this? And I need this. And I pretty much heard more of just the song River Runs Red, not the album, but I heard more of Ugly before River Runs Red. So I knew River Runs Red was out. I just didn't know, I don't know what to do to get it, or I don't know, like to get the CD, I guess. But I knew, because I always listen to WSOU 89.5, and I heard River Runs Red, and I knew, and when that song came on SOU, you knew that song came on, and it was awesome. But a friend of mine brings over a blunt and the Ugly, the album. He's like, let's smoke and let's listen. And from there, it's my favorite band. I just related, and and just
I've said this to all the guys in the band at this point, and girls in the band. If it wasn't for them, I would not be where I am right now. Because I have a similar thing too. Like I didn't know them until the Soul Searching Sun record, actually. I had gotten a cassette single for Weeds, and I was like, wow, this song is really, really good. And then I went to go see them, and I had heard that their singer left. And I'm like, all right. So my first show I ever saw them with was with Whitfield Crane.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And then I went, and I went backwards. And I went backwards, and I was like, okay, now this band is insane. This is an absolutely insane band. And at the time, I was just starting to dabble writing lyrics. I didn't have a band. And I heard this band, and I'm like, I need to start a band. Like, this is the kind of music that I want to make, and, put the air in the aquarium, found my guitar player. But it is all because of them. And I'll never forget one time we were opening for Among Thieves. It was after LOA broke up.
Okay.
And I had given Alan a single, not a single, a live track that we had recorded. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm opening up for you next week too, man. Just give it a listen, see if you like it. Right. Next week I come back and I was like, did you like it? He goes, I liked it better when I wrote it. It was called Seasons. And I went, I had no idea. Like, I wrote this song, like, it must have been stuck in the back of my head the whole entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, verse, chorus. I mean, it was just identical to it. Yeah. But yeah, if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have had the wherewithal to start a band.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the band, I would have never stepped foot and attempted comedy. And then I wouldn't be there 13 years later talking to two dirtbags in my fucking basement.
Man, you've came far.
I've come full circle.
A long way there, Sean.
Now, your favorite record from them, and what's the best record from them?
God. Because like the LOA haters would be like,
Archie likes Ugly better than River Runs Red. I'm going to say
so
it.
Do I, number one, but continue.
I do. Because like, you want to know why? It's more nostalgic for me. Like, it came out when you know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
I was 15, 16, 17. Like, that was my introduction to them. Fuck it. I'll say it. You want to know what? Ugly is my favorite LOA record.
Mm-hmm.
But like River Runs Red is just so much darker. But it's darker in a different way, though.
It's very dark.
It's raw. It's more.
You got to
raw.
remember. Well, you got to remember too. It's their first album, right? It's their first album, so you have your entire beforehand to write that first album. So of course your first one's going to be a masterpiece, right? Not your guys' first record. Trust me, that's going to be dog shit. But when you first have all that time, but that second record is so solid.
They realized after River Runs Red a couple of this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
and Ugly in my eyes is a masterpiece from start, and then they end off with a cover.
Right.
And it's just from start to finish. It is one of my favorite albums of all time. River Runs Red. There's something about that's just so raw that I fucking like. I'm in a different mood. I need to put that on. You know?
Yep.
But if you go see them live and you play Weeds, the crowd erupts.
Yep.
If you go see them live and you play Love to Let You Down, that's 10 times harder live than on the record.
Yeah.
I remember hitting his shoulder when they played with Mudvayne at with Jay Venarelli, whatever place that was in the city. I think
it was Roseland, Arch.
Might have been Roseland. I'm like, listen to this fucking song live. Love to Let You Down live is fucking heavy. It's just, and you listen to the record, it's good, but it's not like, it just doesn't like live. It's like, fuck yeah.
I sing Love to Let You Down at least 4 times a week in my shower.
Oh, it's
so let me tell you something. So Sean,
song.
Archie had a revelation when he calls me up. He's like, yo, Beyonce stole fucking Halo from fucking Love to Let You Down.
I'm fucking telling you she did.
I'm like, what?
Her fucking producer did.
He's
swear
like,
to God.
Fucking Beyonce, Queen Bee, fucking stole.
Never walls I built, never knows it down.
Oh my God.
I was like, her fucking
I need
producer.
New friends. I so need new friends. This is horrible.
Her fucking producer stole it.
Sean, it was one of those conversations where you love the guy and you yes him just to shut the fuck up. I'm like, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like I had a similar instance where my guitar player thoroughly denies this ever happened. Because we listened to everything, but like he was a huge Kenny Wayne Shepherd fan. Now I love Kenny Wayne too, right?
Yeah.
We go to the Trade Winds in Seabright. This is how far back we're going to this concert. Right? And we're outside, we're smoking a cigarette, and he turns his head and he goes, "Oh my God, it's Kenny Wayne Shepherd!" Like a real fucking fangirl. And I pissed my pants. Like that's how hard I gutturally was laughing. And to this day, he still denies that he ever did that. But I will tell you, Archie, I will say one thing. Ugly is still my favorite record.
Yeah.
But their best record is their new one, Sound of Scars.
It's great. It's great. You
never heard it.
To be honest with you, you said this is where we disagree. But see, it's not their best record, but I think the one what was it called? The one before that I think is better. I just think
A Place Where There's No Pain.
Yeah.
I think it's a great record too. I love that record a lot.
Love that album.
I think the difference in it is your former guest on your podcast. I think their new drummer, Veronica Bellino.
Oh, she's awesome.
Adds a totally different sound to that record.
Yeah.
And when you see her play the old stuff live, it sounds like new songs all over again.
Yeah.
It really does.
Totally agree.
I think she brings a freshness to the band. She's like almost like a fucking like just like a different. Listen, it's the drummer. The guitar player could play the parts, and maybe they have a different style of playing, so you could hear a little bit. But when you have a new drummer, like you have a different feel.
Sure.
Even if the drummer plays a little bit not like the other drummer, there's still a different feel.
Dude,
sure.
I saw your band last week, 2 weeks ago. I've seen your band a couple times. Your new drummer, best drummer you have.
Yeah, he's a good
totally
drummer.
Agree.
He's a great. It's a different vibe. I mean, your singer sucks ass. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, terrible. He's
horrible. Oh, let me stand on the drum riser and look upward at the sky. Fucking hack.
And the best part is, I still can't get rid of him.
Son of a bitch.
That's fucking funny.
Guilty as charged.
So, all right. So to answer your question, Ugly is my favorite album. Their best album is I'm probably just have to piggyback and just say it. Ugly, I guess. Again, it just the way the guitar. Before every gig I play with Rocco or my other band or whatever, on my way to the gig, my one ritual is that I play Other Side of the River.
Other Side is one of the best songs they've ever done.
That's
were you at the reunion show at Irving Plaza in 2003?
Yes, we were.
I was there the first night with my friends.
Yep.
And I was there by myself the second night.
I was at both shows too. And I have gone on record numerous times when people ask me what the best concert I ever went to in my life was. And I always say it was that first night at Irving Plaza.
Phenomenal.
I never felt an electricity in a room like I did that night. I've seen some amazing concerts in my life. I mean, I've seen ridiculous concerts. Nothing will ever beat that concert. And if you buy the DVD, you see my fat face right in the front on the rail the entire show.
Great.
Arch, do you remember? So that show, I got to think of this real quick. Fuck.
I'm the one who took the weed gummies, guys. You should be on the point right now.
All right. So Archie doesn't remember this.
How do you know?
Sean, put my memory in place and justify it. Shinedown opened up for them.
Never.
What the fuck, dude? I'm telling you, Shinedown fucking opened the show.
When?
The Irving Plaza,
They
2005.
did not. Oh, there was no opening act.
Yes.
No, I don't think it's that show though.
They did not open
not
that
the
show.
reunion show. They didn't open up for no. I think I can't remember opening acts for the life of me. And
There was no opening act of that show. It was just them.
But I think Shinedown did open up for them, but not the reunion show.
All right.
I can't picture Shinedown opening up for them.
I know Clutch opened up for them at Roseland.
No,
I
Shinedown opened up for them at a show we saw Arch, and Shinedown got this is before Shinedown was Shinedown, and the crowd was not feeling it.
Two totally different genres too, though.
Yeah, not feeling it.
I saw Shinedown open for Seether at Starland Ballroom, and Shinedown was so amazing. It was right before Sound of Madness dropped. So they were still feeling that 45 burning bright kind of feel. Yeah. And they were phenomenal. They blew Seether out of the water. Seether made it through 3 songs and half the place is empty. They start off with the 3 ballads.
Seether.
Yeah, they're a great band, man. And great guy playing for them now, Corey Lowry, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should get him on your podcast. He's a great guest.
Yeah, he said no. Or he just didn't answer back. All right.
That's great.
Yeah, but getting back to Ugly and Other Side of the River, the one good thing Archie ever did for me in my life was put me onto Life of Agony. Mm-hmm. He's like, dude, and as advertised, like phenomenal. Other Side of the River, if you don't like, I swear to God, every time I hear that song, I get fucking chills.
Yep.
And like, I don't know, man. I don't know that they have a better song than that. Like the way it makes you feel, right? Maybe
it might be their best song. It might be their best song. I'm telling you, as of right now, I think their best song is Blackheart from the new record.
Really?
Great song.
Yeah. It's probably, listen, I love this band so much. I only have 3 people tattooed on my body. I have Prince, I have Slash, and I have LOA on the back.
That's fantastic.
It's the only 3 bands I will ever have tattooed on me. Well, I have Gaslight Anthem lyrics record, on there too, but I think the weed gum is kicking in. Which is totally fine because I'm running the show today.
I have Brian Fallon's face tattooed on my ass, but that's fine.
Well, you don't appreciate good music. I mean, obviously, look at your singer.
This is true. Arch,
who do you got coming up on the podcast? Anybody good we can announce and break on this one?
God. All right.
The very funny Liz Mealy.
Liz Mealy is a great comic. I don't know her very well personally. Actually, I don't know her at all personally. I worked with her once, but I followed her on social media, and a very, very great comic, I will tell you. That's a good guest.
I definitely enjoyed having her on the podcast. It'll be coming out soon. I think it'll be coming out this week. Funny, angry, but yet,
sweet and adorable, who loves cats.
Yeah.
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 It's fucking great.
She yelled at me.
She schooled Archie about cats.
Yeah. Did she really?
Yeah, I fucking hate cats. And
I do too. They're fucking soulless animals. I hate when people say, "Oh, my cat loves me." No, here's what happens. Okay. If you die, right? If you drop dead in your house and you have a cat, your cat will fucking eat you for survival. If you drop of a heart attack and you have a dog, your dog will bark until somebody comes to the door and hopefully saves your life. So basically what happens is if you have a dog, you're going to live a long life. If you have a cat, you're going to die a painful death.
First time a pussy ate me.
Just how it is. Rocco, do you have a cat or a dog?
I have a dog named Chuck.
Chuck?
Named after Chuck Liddell. I know. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah. He's a good boy though, right? Chuck? Chucky boy.
Chuck, he was on the cover of Good Boy magazine.
He's got a band called Little Chuck and the Good Boys.
See, I got a dog. I named like a real name. I named it Sabbath after Black Sabbath.
That's hot.
Listen, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say second to your lovely wife, Giovanna, you fucking love your dog. I see your post about your dog and you got it recently. And
oh yeah, no. Listen, here's
dog.
The thing. I mean, I bought a house like 5 or 6 months ago, and I've already told her that if it goes on fire, keep your shoes by the bed because the first thing I'm doing is grabbing the dog, throwing it on my shoulder. And you got to find your own fucking way out. Like that's how much I am obsessed with this fucking dog.
Your shoes by the bed.
Keep your shoes by the bed because I'm grabbing the dog first. My dog's a bitch. She eats everything.
Yeah, that's what they do.
She ate 5 remote controls already. Oh. I have to baby proof my house. She almost knocked over my brand new 70-inch television yesterday.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is on top of 800 records, which I see her looking at like they're fucking toys.
Yeah.
At that point, might be looking for a new dog. Not gonna lie.
I'll tell you this though. Chuck is not an eater, but he will piss on fucking anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, look, lasagna. Let me piss on it.
I've had Chuck for a long, long time. So this is what, 12 years ago? Me and Archie lived together. and like Chuck was like, he was wild, like a wild dog. He's a Yorkie. Archie would call me after work. He's like, all right. I'm like, Archie, we're gonna meet up. Yeah. So I just took Chuck for a drag because he wouldn't fucking walk. But still pissing on everything, anything and everything.
Nah, my girl's an angel. What do you have, Archie?
I have I got a rescue. I got a pit mix.
That's what I got. I rescued her too.
His name is Lenny.
Yeah, you know what I hate? You know what I used to fucking hate more than anything? That expression. Did we rescue you? Or did you rescue me?
Yeah.
I used to be like, you
fuck out of here.
Fucking suck. And now I have a bumper sticker on my car. I didn't rescue her. She rescued me.
That's fantastic.
Fucking hate that dog.
I think for a minute after our show, I told you and your wife this story. So my wife and I go to the Long Island rescue, that one that was like on TV or blah, blah, blah. And we walked a couple dogs, and these dogs were fucking 120 pounds. Mm-hmm. Like I saw my wife like getting fucking dragged. I was like, we can't have this dog. Like they're beautiful dogs, but we can't do this. Like it ain't happening. What, you're gonna see a squirrel and then I'm gonna lose my wife with the dog? Like, so the next day I look online and the Jersey City Humane Society had Lenny's this dog, and I go, I'm like, Lee, look at this fucking dog, like beautiful. It's too good. Like, look at he's beautiful. Like, it's not there. It won't be there. Hi, do you got this brown? Oh yeah, we did. Went down the next day. It was just fucking shaking in the cage. It was just shaking. Took him out, and he looked malnourished. He was on the streets of Bayonne, which I don't fucking believe. He was on the street knowing my dog. He was on the street for a fucking 2.5 hours before somebody picked him up. Get the fuck out of here. Streets of Bayonne. Picked him up. And all of a sudden, right, we're walking him and he's just gorgeous. And I'm like, fucking dog. Like, what are we going to do? The lady comes over and looks my wife in the eye, not me. Oh, by the way, today's a Black Friday sale. They're free. And I'm like, wow. She looks at me. She goes, free.
That's great.
And next thing you know, on the turnpike, he's farting all the way home.
And $13,000 later.
Thousands of dollars later. So this was like 6 years ago, I think. So we think he's about 6 or 7, and he's an awesome dog.
You gotta check the rings on his asshole. You count them. You'll see how old he is.
my 3-year-old went up to my dog the other day. His tail was up, and the poor dog was just fucking looking for fucking food or whatever. And my 3-year-old thought it was a button, and she just fucking pressed down, bloop, right in his asshole. Fucking Lenny was just like, oh!
I did that to Rocco after your last show, by the way, and he was just kept backing into my hand, which I don't understand.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that, though. We did that.
You mentioned about having to drag your wife. I never told anybody this story. I was like 10, and my uncle was living with me at my parents' and my house, but in between moves and stuff. And he had this Doberman named Casey. Casey was about 120 pounds. He was a fucking huge monster. And I had this big park across the street from my house growing up. And I lived in Union City at the time. So I'm taking him and we're walking the dog. I go, I can walk him. I'm a big boy. I can walk him. And he goes, are you sure about that? I said, yeah. And I held the leash. And as somebody was walking a ferret on a leash, because it was Union City. That's what they did back in the day. My dog saw it. I didn't see it. And he took off and dragged me about 150 feet as I'm holding on to the leash. Dragged me on my stomach. I was ripped from my neck down to my pubic area. Just completely shredded open because this was like an old park back in the day when they didn't have like the styrofoam on the floor to protect the kids. Yeah. There was like dead chicken bones from Santeria, fucking voodoo shit. There was broken bottles everywhere. Fucking hate that dog. Did you have to take a shit or something, Rocco? What's going
on? Speaking of that, my dog Chuck just grabbed the fucking beer cap, and I had to apprehend him and
you shouldn't blame the dog, Sean. You should blame Union City.
I do blame Union City, which is why I got out of there.
I lived in Jersey City for 5 years, and it was probably the shittiest time I've ever. No,
I lived in Bayonne for 25.
Yeah, you beat.
I can beat that.
You like I know you. I know you personally. You're a clean guy, like, but you probably still smell like Bayonne. Like just out of nowhere.
You know what it is? You have to do like this. There's like a ritual when you actually get out of that shithole town. What you have to do is like actually set yourself on fire to burn off the first 2 layers of epidermis, and then after the healing process is, then you can finally say you're actually rid of it.
I traveled to Bayonne from 1999 to maybe from like maybe 98 to 2000, something like that. I was seeing a girl in Bayonne and Avenue C.
Okay.
And I was going back and forth to Bayonne, from Bloomfield to Bayonne. And I just kept saying to myself every trip, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah.
when I would go over that bridge, whatever that whatever that bridge was, I forget.
Yeah, the extension bridge. Yeah, and you'd smell the chemical smell the minute you passed Newark.
And I would fly in, and I would just fucking go right in, and I'm like,
it's just like the land of broken dreams, is what it comes down to.
And so then Rocco and I played. Where the fuck did we play in Bayonne?
I want to say it was called like
Lot 13.
Lot 13. Yeah.
That was the first and last time I've been to Bayonne.
Like I did a comedy show there.
Did you really?
For 5 people.
How'd that go?
It was a big draw. I'm a big draw in my hometown. I had one show. I had booked a show there and in a different sleazy bar in Bayonne, and I had 100 people show up. Like we were past capacity. So then somebody heard that I had done this. They're like, we're going to put you on the show. Like even put a banner that said Bayonne's own Sean Morton. I'm like, all right, this is going to work. And then I walked in and it was like my landlords were there and like a bartender that like was off that night. And like 2 creepy people.
Yeah. They weren't there for the show. They just needed to fucking show us past due on rent.
Basically. Hey, let's get these $30 he's making and put it towards his back rent, right?
Yeah, so we paid for a couple people at that place, but that night someone got like fucking stabbed outside.
No shit.
Yeah, it was a cool place, but I mean,
some
great place. Yes, but you don't realize what disgusting town you live in until they build a Walmart there.
Yeah.
And then it's like shining a light on a moth. They all just come out. It's like the fucking bat signal for white trash just gets drawn into the Walmart.
I remember when I was going there in those years, whatever, 440 around that, nothing was
empty.
Yeah.
Drag race down there.
And then when I went, I don't know if I got lost. I think I don't know, whatever. I was there maybe 15 years later, and I'm like, wow, they built up this fucking place.
They built it up.
Yeah, holy shit. Well, money.
Yeah, allegedly. But anyway, I want to talk more about your podcast. Where can people hear your podcast?
Real quick, Sean. Before we get into that, I just want to do 1 minute of since this is a music podcast, I just want to let this out.
Go for it.
I'm gay. No. Sorry. Wait, wrong podcast.
He's blown me 17 times. I know this already, but continue.
Yeah, Sean's not shocked, dude. Like I saw his face. Like, okay,
he's very toothy
and
no gag reflex. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yo. I got this guy, Archie. He's a good guy. He got a podcast. He plays guitar. He's kind of toothy.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to chime in on this, a couple minutes, just 2 minutes.
Get to the point, Christ.
This is why no one likes you, Rock.
Oh.
All right, you ready? The best concerts I've ever been to. And I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. Are you ready?
Yeah. I think he's got me kicked in too. Just so you know.
The Police that reunited when they came back. Okay. At Giant Stadium. Bruce Springsteen. Prince. Now, The Who was phenomenal, and they had Ringo Starr's son drumming for them. But I thought that they were very good. They were very, very good. But Kiss 2000
He's high as fuck.
Yeah,
New
he
Year's
is.
Eve.
He's
Kiss New Year's Eve 2000 with their makeup on
Okay.
in the year 2000. I just want to hear some of give me like 3 of like the best concerts off the top of your guys' head that you've
like
been
I
to.
said, Life of Agony, obviously that 2003 reunion show. I flew out to San Bernardino and San Diego to see System of a Down in front of 60,000 people. That was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Same place I saw Knotfest out in San Bernardino. Willie Nelson's 70th birthday party at the Beacon Theater.
That's pretty
had
cool.
Bill Clinton, Ray Charles, just like it was everybody, ZZ Top, everybody was there.
yeah.
And then my favorite concert was War for the Crown at Dingbats 2 weeks ago.
What a rager that fucking was.
Oh, let me tell you, all 6 of us loved it.
How are both of you guys doing out there?
Let me hear both
It was
of you.
I felt so bad for Rocco. I really did, because I've been in this situation when you're in the band, right? When you're a comedian, you don't give a fuck. You're just gonna pay. They're gonna pay your money. You sit wherever you want. When you're in a band and you have you had about 70 people, 80 people at that show, right? And they're all in the back. And Rocco was trying his sweet little heart out. Come on, you fuckers, get in the front, and and people like the 6 people that were there in the front just moved up like 2 feet.
Yeah.
That is almost embarrassing. I felt so bad for you.
Do you think it's because we're like so good looking they were like afraid to move up front, or is it like
my case maybe, but definitely not in your case. What's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you on stage?
All right, I'll tell you a couple things. Archie falling off of a stage that was fucking 2 inches high.
Okay, I've done that, and I've done the 5-foot stage where I've fallen off of. But continue.
Archie jumping off of the stage at Lemoore that was fucking 20 feet high and breaking his ankle.
Ankle still clicks in the winter.
The Rec Room.
That's where I fell.
We were opening up for what was the name of that band with Dan Lorenzo, Arch?
Hades.
Hot as I don't know. I was wearing so much clothes. I don't know why. I take a bottle of water. I pour it on my head. I pour it in the back. The water went from down my spine to my asshole, and I had I had a convulsion on fucking stage. I'm like, dude, the worst feeling ever on stage.
They booked us to open for DRI at the Rec Room, which we were just a rock band, and they're a hardcore band.
They're punk.
Fucking packed. I mean, it is packed to the gills, this place. Of course, we open up with our heavy one. And of course, I did the stupid douchey lead singer thing. Are you ready to rock? That kind of shit. And I went to put my foot on the monitor, completely missed, face planted right off the stage at the Rec Room.
Oh my. And that was a pretty high stage too.
That was a very high stage. Yes. And all you heard was, oh, like that.
So I am very, very, very new
Stupid.
in playing in bands. I'm 18 years old, and I couldn't even I couldn't go behind the glass at Obsessions in Randolph.
Right.
And I'm in this band, and it's a rock band, and we're playing, and we opened up for a guy named Gilby Clark.
Okay, from GNR.
That's so the place is like, it's pretty packed, and I'm 18 years old, and this is like my first, coming into my own, playing a band. Like, this is great. My pedals look like a spider web on the ground with the wires and everything.
Right.
Okay, I didn't know what the fuck I'm doing. Before practice, the singer has to set up my pedals. I just didn't know anything. So I'm playing guitar, and I'm having a great time. And I was the fucking 18-year-old kid in the band, and everybody else was like 27, 28. Right. So I'm jumping and flying and everything. And I'm playing, and I'm like, the sound out of my amp is just not as loud as I thought it was. And I'm fucking playing my heart out. And I look down and I go, oh, my wire's not my guitar, is it?
That's great.
That's down.
Happened to all of us though.
And like from then and there, like one guy, like I think a stagehand's like, hey man, you got to loop it around the strap, man.
Big time.
But like I just remember playing, and like my girlfriend at the time from Bayonne, was just like like she was just so like awed that like her boyfriend was in a band and everything like that, and I'm fucking playing, and I'm like,
her vagina was the fucking Sahara that night when she
fucking... Good thing you didn't go in that hole though. Anyway, guys, this was actually a really fun podcast today. I want you to tell them where they can hear yours and your social media stuff, so all our 14,000 plus fans can join in.
You can check out the podcast. It's all social media platforms, right? Arch at
everyone
at NTTFG POD. Or
could have picked an easier name though, right?
At NTTFGPOD.com.
Guys, this was an absolute fucking blast today.
Dude, Sean, we appreciate you having us. We love you.
I can go another hour, but I have to piss really bad. So I'm
you and me both.
Yes, please, guys. Anybody out there? Not these two fucking guys podcast. We try. We have a good time. Music, sports, and comedy. Give it a listen. And Sean, thank you so much.
Anytime, brothers.
Yeah, you're the man, brother.
See you guys later.
All right. Be good.